Okay, so I was asked recently how I ensure I get a square cut under any condition. And what I'm going to show you next is probably the most challenging square cut to get. And that is you haven't squared off all of the sides. I'm saying this wrong, but in any event, you'll get what I'm saying. Picture's worth 1,000 words, right? Okay, so let's get at it. Let me grab my trusty marker here and let's see what the situation is. So I want to get my fireplace mantle out of this. It needs to be 12 inches by 4 inches. It's going into a house that's going to be finished reasonably well, so I don't want it to be unsquare. If you'd watched another episode on this same day, you'd seen I was taking the fireplace mantle out of here. That's wrong-headed thinking. I do not want that in there. X, etc. Cannot be. So I'm going to take it out of, so this is 12 inches from there to there. The fireplace mantle is going to be 4 inches. I'm going to square this off, and so we're going to take it, this is a 16-foot log. I've got lots to play with. I'm going to get rid of all of this end cracking that happened as the result of me not treating the ends. So I'll maybe knock a foot off this end. I'll lose it. It'll be a great piece of firewood, whatever. And so we're going to go from here to about 4 inches. 4 inches. I'm going to end up with something really decent there. Ignore the end cracking because that's going to be gone. So how do I go about that? Well, I take and simply set my square on the saw blade. Let me switch hands here. Okay, look at that square. Get you some better light. That square is swinging freely there. Okay. So I pull it in tight, I just back it out a little bit, keep my shadow out of the way for the most part. Look, across something like, what is it, 17 inches? I'm so close all the way down. Like, I don't know, I'm within a 32nd of an inch, maybe a 16th down there at the bottom, but the mantle's going to be up here, and we're going to square it, like nobody's going to lay anything on this and say, whoa, that's not square. But let's say I was doing an 18-inch and I wanted to play with it. What would I do? Well, all I would do is take that log dog there that's bit in, and I'll probably do it just because I'm a little OCD and I want this to be perfect, and I've tightened it in here. I'm going to lift it a little bit. In lifting it, it's going to roll the log just a little to perfectly square. If I really have issues with it, this is not engaged right now and I'm going to drop it out of the way, but if I needed some help doing that, I would just bring this up and again roll the log a tiny little bit. That's it. And so you just use a good old framing square and lay it across the blade like that, and you can guarantee yourself of it being as square as you want it to be. And if you want it to be within a 32nd or a 64th of an inch, you can actually make that happen. Norwood HD 36, hey, they did it right. And it's all about learning some techniques, and you can cut just whatever class of wood you want to cut and to whatever perfection you want to cut it. This is just too much fun. Hey, one last thing on this whole getting a square cut business. So I've got kind of an interesting piece on the mill right now. Let's go down and we'll take a look at it from this end. Now, how do you make sure that that thing's 100% square and vertical? I've got to get 2 or 3 6x6s out of there. It's about 18 inches, so I'll probably get 2 6x6s and a 4x6. But everything I've told you so far about squaring this up doesn't work. So my log turner here it's not close enough. This entire piece is exactly 6 inches wide. No amount of up or down, and you can see a couple of little marks in there, is going to roll that log any further. It was still a full 3/8 of an inch away from being square. So what did we do? Well, look down there, and my log dog has a firm clamp on it. What you do is, let me get a closer shot here. You raise or lower these under pressure from the log dog on the other side, and I moved that 3/8 of an inch. I rolled it. The top would have gone to the left from the operator's station by just gently, just kind of punching the handle, the control handle right here, just kind of popping that forward, just an increment at a time. I'm now set up for a perfectly square pair of 6x6s coming out of there. I'm cutting a little high just to make sure that I'm squared up before I actually go into the 6x6 production business. So I'm going to take a 6x6 out above this mark. So it's going to be about there. Then that's going to be waste. I don't want that. And then I'm going to get a really nice solid 6x6 out of the bottom part. Hey, happy sawmilling. This is where the fun begins. It's what it's all about. Thanks for being part of the journey. Well, as they say, but there's more. This is the video that just seems to keep going and going. Here's why. I'm working on these 6x6s, and I'm really hoping the camera is going to pick this up well. But you can see a dive that the blade took there. It either took a dive there or had a hump there. I think it's the latter, where it went up. And look at that. That's a full 1/16 of an inch. That's not going to look good on the inside of the house. So what causes this? Well, two contributing factors. Look at that. There's quite a little knot going through there, or a cluster of knots. I had the same thing back here. This was the quite a little knot that I was wanting to bring up. Look at that. Follow that along under the level. We've got in excess of a 1/16 of an inch, and it did the same right there. Man, we're well on our way to an 1/8 of an inch. And just follow that. Yeah, not good. And so knowing these knots were here, I probably would have put, I should have looked. I could have seen they were there. Put a 1/4 turn more into the blade tensioner, but that's a brand new blade, and I've made either 7 or 8 cuts in Douglas fir with that blade on, and it's dull. So I don't know if I got a bad batch of blades. Wow, that would almost break a guy, having to change out the blade every 8 cuts. And again, I get 5 sharpenings out of a blade before I put myself at risk of a blade coming unglued at the weld. And blades are, in Canadian dollars, $30 or so, all taxes in. So I'm looking at about $4 per use. But it's the time and annoyance factor of changing it. Not a big deal. I can change a blade in, out, gone, the wheels greased, everything in well under 10 minutes. But when you're in a bit of a cadence, it's just annoying to have to be checking for that sort of thing on every cut when you're looking for a precision cut. But hey, if that's the way it is, that's the way it is. We roll with it. And I think this will maybe be the last segment of this video. Here's hoping for your sake and mine. And the main thing is we're all safe. 8 fingers, 2 thumbs, 82 maple. We're having fun.